What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Zeiler checking in for a new video, and today we're going to be talking about something that I didn't see myself having to talk about for, quite some time. And I find myself seeing in the comments of my videos, seeing in the comments of my social media, and seeing, private messages and emails and stuff like that. I get questioned all the time, and, not just questioned, but I get accused of using anabolic steroids. And the accusations, it's not that they bother me. It's just that it's what, the majority of my videos have become. The top comments are always, arguments between my subscribers and between people who aren't subscribed. They're always arguments about whether or not I'm natural. They're always arguments about ideas that people get in their head somehow, and they come on my channel and they tell me that they know more than I do, or they tell my subscribers that they know more than my subscribers do. And almost all of the fitness YouTubers, all of the other channels have to make a video like this at some point, and it's just that I didn't think I'd have to do it like this early on, but I feel like it is very important to express my opinions. It's very important for me to give you guys the truth and give you actual solid facts, not just ideas coming from other people who think they know everything. Information that comes from me personally, instead of me just going in and commenting on some of the people's posts, which I've did already in the past. I just felt like making one video, one universal video about it will hopefully, solve most of the questioning. Because there are some of you guys who honestly are just curious to know the truth. There's some people who just, they're on the fence. They don't know whether I am or not or whatever. And I don't know how it would be that hard to tell. And, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that I'm natural in quite a few videos. I basically want this video to put an end to the arguing, because I personally have become pretty sick and tired of arguing with internet know-it-alls, trolls and stuff like that, who tell me what it is that I'm taking, or tell me what it is that I'm doing or not doing. And, it's not a big deal. It really doesn't get to me at all, the trolling and the hating and stuff like that, because I'm putting myself out there. When I upload to YouTube, when I put a picture on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's putting myself out there, and I'm putting myself out there to be ridiculed. And for the most part, I'm pretty chill about most things. I don't take things to heart for the most part. But sometimes, you have those days where there is no chill, and you blow up on some people, and it's very unprofessional and very childish to do stuff like that. So I really try to keep control of that the best I can. I really don't think I've blown up on too many people here on the channel. Maybe a few times on my social media and stuff like that, but in all honesty, on my YouTube channel, I blocked about 3 or 4 people at the most. And it's not because of anything personal. It was because of the fact that every time I would upload a video, these same people would always come onto that very video and start an argument with my subscribers. Every single video, they would come on and start an argument, and they would not shut up. And number one, my Google Plus notifications on my phone would be going insane because of the fact that they keep replying to people or something like that. But not only that, my subscribers asked me, hey Zach, you should just block this person. Will you block this person? They're getting kind of annoying. And if I'm going to visibly see that coming from my subscribers, obviously I'm going to take action, and that's what I did with 3 or 4 people. So I'm not one to usually block people, and even if I do block you, I usually unblock you within some time. It's just like I'm giving you a timeout, whatever you want to call it, which is stupid. But this video is going to be long. I may as well add right now, because I'm going to be going into a lot of different aspects. I'm going to be diving into some of the factual information. I'm going to show you guys some documentation of, the past, what I went through and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that, you guys. So the first thing that needs to be addressed in this video is the yes or no. Am I natural? And the answer is yes. I have always been natural. I am currently still natural, and in my future, I still plan on being natural. So you're hearing this information come from me. You're not hearing it come from anyone else. You're hearing it from me. Yes, I'm natural. Yes, I've always been natural. And yes, I plan to be natural for the rest of my life. Now, with that said, we need to address some of the accusations, address where some of those accusations come from, some of the questions that people ask me specifically, and that kind of a thing. So to start off, most of the accusations always come with the fact that I'm lean. The fact that I stay lean year-round, and the fact that I've stayed lean my entire life. Whenever somebody sees a video, whenever they see a photo of somebody on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is, they always assume that the person is on steroids whenever they are really, really lean, for whatever reason. In some cases, yes, the individual is probably on drugs, but in many other cases, people see a person with abs, they see a person with, under 10% body fat, and they automatically assume steroids just because they've never, had the discipline to get down to that body fat before. And people look at me and they automatically assume steroids because I stay at such a low body fat. And, to give you a few facts real quick, I'm 6 feet tall, and I'm currently weighing 175 pounds. And I've never really been above 15% body fat probably ever in my life, to be honest. And you guys are going to see pictures of me when I was in middle school, and you're going to see the fact that I have been lean my entire life. Back in my middle school days, my freshman year of high school even, I have been shredded my whole life. I've always had a little bit of a muscular build, and I've always had that really shredded look. And you're going to see that in those pictures. One thing that people need to come to the realization of is the fact that, like I said before, I'm putting myself out there. When I post a picture on Instagram, when I upload a video on YouTube, don't you think that I want to look good and be appealing in order to get more subscribers, to get more of a following, to get an increase of, likability or whatever you want to call that? I'm not going to upload a picture to Instagram of me looking like complete shit. I'm not going to upload a picture to Facebook of me looking like absolute shit. It just would not make any sense to do that. So basically what I'm saying is that people see those pictures and they think that I look like that year-round. Or they see pictures of other bodybuilders or other fitness enthusiasts and stuff like that here on YouTube or videos, and they think, wow, they look like that year-round, that's insane, that's not achievable naturally. When in reality, you guys are seeing me when I'm pumped up on my channel. You guys are seeing me when I'm working out, getting blood all up into the body parts that I'm working. You guys are seeing me, on Instagram with filters and shit like that. The majority of those accusations that come in are the people who don't realize that. They see it they see the pictures, they see the videos, and they automatically think, wow, they look like that year-round, when it's quite the opposite. I personally have days where I look like complete shit. I have days where I feel weak as shit. I have days where I just am not up to par. And it's probably very visible to other people as well, although I'm very critical of myself. So that's just one aspect of it. The next place where the accusations come in are the fact that I make lean gains and, I stay lean year-round. I've kind of touched upon that. But in another video, I have an explanation of how I do that. I have an explanation on how my nutrition works and how I stay lean year-round. I'm not the only human being that knows how to do that. I'm not the only human being who does do that. There's plenty of other fitness individuals here on YouTube. Some guys around my age, some guys much older, and some of them do take steroids. I'm sure some of them do. And there are always going to be those fake naturals. There's always going to be the liars and people who put themselves out there to sell you something, or to get you to have that false hope, who want you guys to look at a physique and say, wow, I can achieve that naturally, if they say that they're natural. And you guys, I want you to realize the fact that I have nothing, like, period. I mean, that's the end of the sentence. I have nothing that I can sell to you guys right now. I have nothing that I'm giving to you. I have nothing that I just overall don't have anything to like sell you guys. You know, I'm not sponsored by anyone in particular. I'm not selling you supplements to where I'm telling you guys, hey, try this product and you'll look like me. I'm really just putting myself out there on YouTube just to share my experiences and stuff like that, you guys. Now, the last place where the accusations come into play are with my history of having cancer and going through chemotherapy and radiation therapy. I've had people who claim to be doctors, I've had people claiming to be nurses, all this and that. And they come on my videos and they will say things like, he was prescribed this, and he was prescribed that, he was prescribed human growth hormone, he was given testosterone something therapy as a result of his chemotherapy or going through cancer. And that's the next place where people will come in and say, that's proof that you've taken steroids. It's frustrating because I put myself out there, and I am natural, and to be still called unnatural, and to be called a fake natty and a liar, and all this and that, it's so frustrating. I mean, in a way, it's not like I'm furious about it or anything. It's just kind of, you know, almost depressing in a way. The fact that none of that seems to go away, even after a small explanation in the comments section, people still will go on to either troll or, you know, just flat out call you a liar, and it just sucks a little bit. So I'm gonna hopefully shed on that a little bit, and actually go into the facts about what I've been given, and specifically the drugs that I was given during chemo. To take a little bit of a look at this right here, I may have to zoom in an awkward way, like in a little bit, because I don't even know if you guys can read this right now. This is my timeline. This is gonna be my entire transformation. We're going a little bit before I was diagnosed with cancer, and we're going to talk about the time where I was going through chemotherapy, and then the time up until the present. So to start off, we're going to talk about this little area, the 2009 and back, you know, before I was diagnosed with cancer, and before I started the bodybuilding, and who I am today, that kind of a thing. So before I was diagnosed, I was very athletic. I ran track in middle school and high school. I pole vaulted, and not only that, I played basketball up until like my sophomore year, junior year, whatever year that was. I participated in our band program. I played drums, percussion specifically. But overall, I was just a very active kid, you guys. So that just sheds on the fact that even before all of this, you know, I was very active. And like I said earlier in the video, I have always been that muscular looking type kid. I've always had visible muscle, and I've always been ripped. Back then I did a few workouts every now and then in our basement with like our Bowflex, some of our small free weights, and some calisthenic type stuff like crunches, push-ups, stuff like that. But it's nothing like what I do today. It's just so surprising that people will still accuse me of being on steroids just because of how lean I am, after, you know, seeing pictures of how lean I was when I was a kid. Are you going to honestly look at my middle school pictures and tell me that I was on something then too because I was muscular and super lean? It's just my metabolism, you guys. It's my makeup, my body composition. I am meant to build muscle and not gain fat. I do not gain body fat for the life of me, and I'm dead serious when I say that. It's always been that way, and it was like that before chemo. So, getting into 2010, this little area right here, up until 2010, between that and 2011. So sometime in January, my girlfriend discovered a lump in my neck, and it was visible. You could see it just from looking at my neck, that it was kind of bulging out. And I could actually grab the mass that was in my neck, and it was about the size of a gumball. After a while, I was urged more and more to go get it checked out at the doctor's office, and so we eventually went and did that, and we went to a local doctor's office on February 5th, and that's right here. After the examination on the 5th, we were then sent over to have surgery and have the lymph node actually removed in order to get it tested. And so that was scheduled for February 16th, and that is when they took the mass out of my neck. And it was sent over to the University of Michigan, I believe, And from there, they were going to give us results after testing it and tell us whether it was cancerous or not. So we had that period of waiting, and back then, I really wasn't nervous at all. You know, I had no troubles back then. I thought I was invincible. Your normal teenager, I guess, at the time. And, you know, waiting for those results, I had no worries whatsoever. Whereas my parents, you know, friends and stuff like that, there were rumors going around at my school, and I had friends, you know, before I even had the results back, I had friends come up, and they would say, Zach, I heard the news, I heard you have cancer. And I would literally laugh about it, and I would say, what are you talking about, dude? I have no idea what you're talking about. No, I don't have cancer. God, what are you thinking? That kind of a thing. And I would laugh it off, you know, back then, because I thought there's just no way. After that biopsy surgery, we got the news, and I was diagnosed. 26th of February. My parents picked up my girlfriend, and they woke me up in the morning, and I was given the news that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. March 2nd, I had my consultation to meet with my doctors who were going to be giving me my chemotherapy. And in that first consultation, I just had some blood work and labs drawn. So chemotherapy began the 15th of March. So this whole period right here has been the time period of, you know, my lifting experiences. It wasn't until probably 2012, more or less, that I really had become obsessed with the bodybuilding aspect. And that's when my research, and that's when my, you know, diving deep into learning everything I can possibly learn about building my body. That's when that came about, was in like 2012. Looking at the facts, you know, looking at the actual time that I've had to build myself and to build my body, I've had 4 years plus the 6 months. So we have the 6 months plus the 1, 2, 3, and then the 4. So I am basically right at 4.5 years of training. We're basically right at 4.5 years of training that I've been doing. And it may even be more than that, honestly. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to say I've been training for 4 years, alright? In the past, I've told people that it has been 4.5, and I wasn't really sure, but that's just me, you know, giving them an ideal number. Alright, so from this little chart right here, you should be able to see my body weight before chemotherapy, during chemo, and the present right now. Before chemo, and before I was diagnosed with cancer, I weighed 155 pounds, and like I said before, I was as athletic, and I was still muscular, still extremely shredded as hell, and just overall just really defined, you know, for not even working out. So during chemo, I got down at my lowest was 106 pounds, which is absolutely insane if you think about it, going from 155 to 106. That's just insanity. Now, where I'm sitting at currently is around 175 pounds. So the question is whether or not it is possible for me to achieve that naturally. Before 155 pounds. And the question is whether it's possible to gain 20 pounds of muscle in 4.5 years, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to just say 4 years. 20 pounds divided by 4 years of training is 5 pounds of muscle per year. So the question is whether or not that is attainable naturally. For the most part, if you do some research, 5 pounds, especially your newbie gains, your beginner gains, 5 pounds is more than achievable naturally. And you know, if it's not, especially in the beginning, I don't think I want to live on this planet anymore. I don't think I want to be lifting weights anymore. Hopefully that can help some of you guys come to the realization that it is possible to do naturally. Now, I understand this is mostly bro science and stuff like that, but hopefully it will help some people, you know, get their head around the whole entire aspect and the whole idea. Who knows? So the next thing that I kind of want to touch base upon is the fact, you know, that there are people out there that use. What my thoughts are on people who take steroids. and my thoughts on steroids in general. My personal reasoning for not wanting to take steroids, it goes a lot further than, just having that stigma, just having the words steroids be associated with your name. It's not that at all. As a matter of fact, I praise some of these people who, not only are open about it, but the fact that they have the guts to actually go through with, taking that extra step. Because some people have a goal physique that is completely different than mine. My mentality and the goal physique that I have, the end result that I want, I see it as being achievable naturally for myself. Now, if for some reason, my goal changes, if I wake up tomorrow morning and I say, I want to look like Ronnie Coleman, I want to look like Jay Cutler or something like that, obviously I cannot get there naturally. And at that point, I may come to the decision and say, you know what, I'm going to jump on steroids. I'm going to jump and do my first cycle of steroids. And at that point, I will be completely honest with you guys. I have nothing to hide from any of you whatsoever, and I hope you guys can trust me. And, the people who do choose to take, I do respect them. But only if they are telling the truth, only if they are honest. And, there are a lot of fake naturals out there. Some of them are so obvious, and some of them aren't. Some of them look like they may be natural, and some people we will never actually know. I apologize, you guys. My camera actually just died, so I'm recording the rest of this with my laptop. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of a better understanding of who I am, of, my thoughts on the subject and everything like that. With all of that said, you guys, I'm going to give you the list of drugs that I was given during chemotherapy and after chemotherapy. Now, what I want you guys to do, if you're extremely interested, is if you see a name of something and you're unsure about it, look it up and look up the facts. The lists that you are seeing are of every last thing I was given during and, after chemo. And there was a continuation of one drug after my chemotherapy was complete, and that drug was prednisone. And prednisone, you guys, prednisone is a steroid. Now, with that said, it is not an anabolic steroid. There are so many different steroids out there, you guys. Birth control, there's a lot of steroids out there, basically. And prednisone is, I think it's called a corticosteroid. Yeah, it's like a corticosteroid or something like that. That's what it's called, I'm pretty sure. Prednisone, which I was taking for 6 months after my treatments were completed. 6 months, where I was lifting heavy weights and where I started the lifting and stuff like that. In those 6 months, I was taking prednisone, and what I did not know until just recently was the fact that prednisone actually breaks down muscle tissue. So the fact that I was trying to work out at the time and try to build muscle while taking a drug that breaks down that very muscle I was trying to build, it pisses me off that much more, that I still get the steroid accusations. Not specifically that, but the fact that people have the nerve to say, you were given testosterone as a result of chemotherapy and radiation. You were given growth hormone, when people have no fucking clue. No idea what the fuck I've been through. They have no idea. And that prednisone, the fact that it breaks down muscle tissue, I literally was so mad when I read that. Because it just comes to show, how little people actually know. I was taking a drug that took away from the very muscle I was trying to build. That's insanity. That is pure insanity. And that's the only thing, you guys, that I've taken. That's what I was given after chemo for 6 months afterwards. For a while, I think the first week I was continuing to take like my Miralax, helping me poop and stuff like that. There was some antibiotics and that stuff like that, but that's it. And I promise you guys that. And you'll see that in my book, from the scan or whatever, the photocopies. So to name them, that's all I'm really gonna do. I'll probably put up pictures, and you guys can pause the video on the picture if you're interested on reading it. I had like I said, the prednisone. I had Bactrim, some Miralax, Zantac, Neupogen, Benadryl, morphine, Zofran, Colace, Emla doxorubicin, bleomycin, etoposide, cyclophosphamide, GCSF, and that's it, you guys. Um, so yeah, it's getting really, really late here. I hope I've touched all the aspects, of what you guys have been wondering, the truth. I've given you guys the truth. You've heard it from my mouth, not just me going and typing, over a computer screen. I'm telling you guys that my body is 110 times achievable naturally. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't be lifting weights, because that would be pretty sad, because I, in my opinion, have a pretty shit and mediocre physique. I weigh 175 freaking pounds. Um, I've got so many weak points. I have such a long road to go, you guys. I'm not caught up or ahead of any of the major YouTubers. I've heard that shit before too, and it's like, when have you guys ever seen me stand next to another YouTuber or another big name or something like that? I would probably be dwarfed by many people out there, but who knows? That's for the future to tell. Yeah, that's it for this video. I guess if you have any further questions, you ask them in the bottom of this video, because this is it, you guys. I'm making this video once until the day comes that I change my mind about everything and I decide to jump on something, whether it's the smallest cycle of anything, a pro hormone even. That will be the day you guys see me making another video like this. But until then, any type of comment that you guys see, any type of accusation you see on my videos, anything whatsoever, I want you to copy the link to this video and shove it up people's asses, because I'm sick of seeing it. Not only am I sick of seeing it, my family's sick of seeing it, my subscribers are sick of seeing it, all that type of stuff, you guys. So help me out, and I'll continue to help you guys out. I have big plans for this YouTube channel. We're going to keep on growing and keep on, I don't know, something. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a long-ass mother trucking video. So until next time, I love you guys. Peace out.